The PIC invested 4.3 billion rand, buying a 29% stake in an initial public offering in Ayo Technology, in a deal clouded by reports of flouting of PIC procedures and overinflation of the company. Matjila says he's shocked at some of the behavior of his former colleagues and said that he had overruled the decision to invest in Ayo Technology was taken when they had written memos supporting the transaction. My apologies for that. Matjila signed off on the deal before a portfolio management committee meeting could sit and approve the deal with a view that the decision would be ratified at a later date. The meeting that was supposed to ratify the decision went on to instead approve a deal that was already signed off. Matjila says he did not correct the meeting as he did not see it as a problem until it was flagged by the internal audit that the decisions were never ratified. Let's get more on that story across our reporter, Glorious Sefako-Musi, who's been following the PIC inquiry. A very good afternoon to you, Glorious. Dr. Daniel Matjila speaking more about that Ayo Technology deal.
Yes, good afternoon, Zinga. We see the Sekunjalo group companies still under the spotlight here at the Commission. This morning, he answered a lot of questions about the Ayo Technology. Also spoke about Sagamatha. Well, the Ayo Technology, remember, is the deal where the PIC invested about 4.3 billion, the deal that they're in the process now of recouping that amount. Well, Matjila said that he started by denying reports that it seems that the deal was being pushed through, saying the agency was not because of the ANC conference, saying that there was no external influence when they were dealing with this transaction. He said that he actually co-signed on the transaction, saying that before Lebogang Molebatsi, who was then acting head of listed investments, had signed a deal to buy about 19% of the shares in Ayo Technology. But he said that he then said to him that with the 19%, they would not be able to have a voice on the board. So he needed to increase that to 29%, saying that that would give them more voice to have a say in governance issues, and the PIC then invested 4.3 billion rand in that transaction, and we know that now that following this controversy, there are people that have been suspended at the PIC. We know Victor Siani was suspended, and the head of listed investments there has also been suspended because of flouting of PIC procedures when coming to this transaction. Well, he also mentioned that we understand now the issue when the PIC invested in Ayo Technology, the shares were at about 43 rands per share. But he says that the fact that the shares are now at about 8 rand, it's not a sign that this was not a good investment. It's just the noise that's surrounding this deal, the negative reports about this transaction, saying that he still believes that it was actually a good investment, saying that answering questions as to the question about the manipulation of we had in this commission from the Ayo Technology executives that the deal was inflated, saying that there's no way during the due diligence that the team could have picked up that the numbers were inflated, saying also that and they couldn't also tell from the pre-listing statement that the numbers were manipulated. We heard from the executive from Ayo Technology that said that there was a massaging of the numbers to get to the valuation that they desired. We also heard from him talking about the ratification. Remember when this deal was approved, we heard that Matjila had come back from leave to sign on this deal, but he had said that it was because of other meetings that he was there. But in that process, we heard that he signed the deal before the portfolio management committee meeting that was supposed to approve this deal. He said that when Molebatsi signed the deal, and himself, he told them that the deal will be ratified at a later meeting because they could not get people together to sit and go through the deal because it was during the December holidays, people already on leave. And he said that in that process, he signed the deal with Molebatsi, saying that it will be ratified. But at the meeting that was held on the 20th of December, when now this decision to invest in Ayo Technology was supposed to be approved, that's when now this instead of it being ratified, the meeting went on as if the deal was not approved, and it was approved instead of being ratified. And he said that he didn't see an issue with this. He didn't correct the meeting. He was there at that meeting, but he did not correct to say actually the deal has already gone ahead. But they went ahead with the meeting as though the deal was not approved. So now the deal was now flagged by internal audit to say, but this was supposed to be a ratification and not an approval. That's when now this was then corrected. He also spoke about the Saga-Matha deal. We'll remember the Saga-Matha deal that was supposed to list on the JSE, and there was the difference in valuation of the company as well, where Saga-Matha said they valued the shares at about 39 rand and the PIC at about 7 rand. So he said that actually it was the PIC that rejected the offer, and that they did not actually not invest in Saga-Matha because the JSE had pulled the transaction, the listing, saying that the company did not meet some requirements of the Companies Act. Now we are on an adjournment, a lunch adjournment. When we resume again at 2 o'clock, Matjila will continue being on the stand completing a testimony. Back to you, Nzinga.
Thanks so much for that update, Glorious Sefako-Musi, coming from the PIC Commission of Inquiry there.